Okay, so around lunchtime, we'd just finished the morning feed that we're providing. We'd just taken a walk around the camps, and all of a sudden I felt very dizzy, and I thought, oh, I'm going to pass out. And I just happened to be on the phone to Ravi at the time. I said, I think the heat's affected me. When I looked, then all of a sudden I looked up, and I saw children that had been playing happily, screaming, absolutely petrified, just chaos all round. Very, very scared. I've never seen anybody so scared in my life. These people, they were just confused. And then I looked towards my team members further away from me, and they said, quick, get here. And all I can recall is that I was trying to run to try and get to them quickly, but I wasn't going anywhere. It was very bizarre, but the ground it was waves, it was just moving. It was very bizarre, but quickly we realised that we had to keep a cool head because these people were traumatised and they're suffering. So quickly we sort of regained our composure and thought, right, we're the ones that are fresh in this. We have to show a bit of leadership and, then we started reassuring people. But it was very scary indeed.
And so, Ravi, you were on the phone to Bal when this happened, so it must have been terrifying for you as well to see her going through that.
Yeah, at first I thought it might be a tremor. I said, oh, it could be a tremor. And then she kept saying, no, it's going on and on sort of thing. And I think it's the first time maybe Bal's been in that situation where the actual full-on earthquake. And I could hear her saying the kids are scared, she doesn't know what's going on. It's a bit surreal. And then I said, look, see if our team's okay, the volunteers, because they were helping out in the feed. And then we got disconnected, and then we got on the phone trying to find out exactly what happened. And it turned out to be quite a big earthquake, and alarm bells started ringing. And so, it was quite scary.
Well, yes, and Bal, explain to us how your day panned out there. Give us a sense of what the situation is like now there in Kathmandu.
It's been a very challenging day. So once the earthquake settled down a bit, people along the main town, the city that we're in, everybody just abandoned their vehicles and they flooded into the military base where we are. It's a very open area, flatlands. So all of a sudden people were just flooding in. Just where we are under our marquee, where we do the cooking, we had about 500 people that sought refuge there. And just all along the sides of the flatlands, basically everybody just made their way there to feel safe. And people were so traumatized, people were crying. And there were only a handful of us in comparison, but we tried to give them water, a bit of reassurance and say, look, you're safe, you're on flat ground, you'll be safe. And then people were hesitant to go back to normal life. They sat there for a couple of hours. We provided tea and we tried to sort of create a sense of normality, which is very challenging, as you can imagine. But then, as people they were reluctant to get back out of that space because it's an open space. And just as an estimate of how many people may be affected this time round, we usually cater for about 2,500 people at lunchtime and in the evening. This evening we've provided meals to 8,000 people. So we will see tomorrow how many of those are displaced people or how many just simply sought shelter today in that area. Very challenging day, very scary, and generally people are sleeping on the streets now. They're scared to go into the buildings.
Yeah, hugely traumatic for everybody there, Ravi. And of course, you've just returned yourself. Yeah. And tell us what your thoughts are, given the scenes that you saw just a few days ago.
When I landed there about 10 days ago, a few days after the earthquake, people were sleeping outside. They were too scared to go in. And as the time progressed, my time there, people started going back into the buildings. And now this has thrown them back out again. And Nepal will not be sleeping tonight. Nepal will not be sleeping. A lot of people will be anxious. They'll be on the streets. They'll probably be without shelter as well. And in the rural areas, one of our trustees, he's a pilot as well, and he volunteered to go. He was delivering aid into the mountainous region, in the villages. And he's come back very, very moved and very traumatized in a way because he actually saw the buildings collapse. And he said, we're lucky we made it alive. There's a lot of things in this situation where, like, I visited villages when I was there. And there's one particular guy that the family flashed in my mind again and again this morning. That was a family that we looked up, half the house had gone in the first earthquake. It was about to fall. And we were saying to them, please, please come down. We will give you shelter. We guarantee you shelter. They wouldn't move. There's about 6 or 8 people in the building, grandma, granddad, and the whole family. And this morning, I know the worst of it probably happened because it would have just gone over. and I hope there's no, fidelity. So there's a lot of stuff. A lot of kids are traumatized. They won't even go in the shower or the bath. They're so scared they might happen again. Now this will set it back again. People are going to be out. People are going to be scared. They're going to be anxious. So the feeding program we're doing for 2,500 normally, that's going to double because the people are going to be staying in the flat ground. So, but we're catering for it. We're up for it. Our volunteers are out there. So it is a very traumatic time for people in Nepal. I've never seen such a massive 2 earthquakes hit at such a short time.
And Bal, your husband explains it so well there, that it's not just people's physical needs, it's also the mental support that people need as well, the psychological support too. How well placed do you feel you are there and other aid agencies in providing the help that's needed?
I think at the moment they're struggling. Generally, people are struggling to come to terms with what's happened. Be that aid agencies it's very challenging to deliver aid, never mind the psychological aspects of it. Children are very traumatised, and I think today seeing them panic, at lunchtime today, that just hit home how much they're traumatised. When you speak to some of the children, they're established families, they've had a good home, some of them are doing well at school, all that's gone overnight. And you listen to some of these children tell their stories of how they've ended up at these camps. It's very upsetting and it is traumatising.